All right, welcome to Tinfoil Hat Live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. Just go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code Tinfoil, and you too can get in on the Precious Metals game for as little as $50 a month. Precious Metals sent right to your house. I do it every month. I'm very happy with my experience, so I hope you guys can do too. Very excited to have our next guest on. He's been on a couple times. They're always nothing but bangers, dude. Good times. Please welcome JtlovesJc. Follows JC, excuse me. JtFollowsJc.
It's good. It's close enough.
It's good.
I'm doing well.
And
Thanks
you do love them,
on.
though. You do love them.
Oh, yeah,
so it kind of works.
Yeah, it does.
How are you, bud?
I'm doing excellent. I'm enjoying this journey, doing podcasts, and also hating on all the conspiracy slop that we're dealing with these days, too.
There's a lot of slop out there, dude. A lot of slop. I will tell you that we feature your clips a lot on doom scrolling. Your Instagram videos are really well put together, well done, and they make it to the wheel all the time. So, and everyone really enjoys them. So, congrats on that. Where can they find you?
Well, if you like to listen to podcasts, you can check out my YouTube channel, JtfollowsJc, or if you like to listen, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you can find podcasts, look up JT's mixtape. And of course, if you're looking for all the socials, you can look up JtfollowsJc, or I go by my full name over on Facebook, which is Joe Telford. So pretty much everywhere.
I want to get into something before we get into the conspiracy slop. There is a effort out there, and I bring this up to everybody who's a Christian on the show, and I don't believe it, just so you know, but I always like asking people who've done very deep dives into the psyop of Jesus. What is your thoughts on that? It's on the darkest edges of conspiracy. I get called all the you believe in Jesus. What do you know? I'm like, please stop. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I guess it's like, well, I mean, a lot of people say lots of things. I mean, I don't know that there's anybody who's any well-read person or respected in any field, whether conspiracy or otherwise, who says that Jesus did not exist. I mean, I think there's a lot of historical evidence to say that he does. And I would say that the iconography and the stamp that Christ has put on this world is undeniable. So, I mean, it's kind of like that. Where do you even start with a person like that? It's like if you've seen all the other evidence and you reject the idea that he was a real person, historical figure, well, I can't really help you. I mean, I'm not going to change your mind about that. I mean, the real question comes down to, there's a great book by Lee Strobel called The Case for Christ, and it comes from like maybe an atheist skeptic's view, and it's proving him outside the Bible. And then basically what you're left with is, was he who he said he was? Which I think is exactly how it would be, is that, because without faith, there's no salvation if you're a Christian. So it takes a certain amount of faith and belief in this. But I mean, Jesus, the historical figure, like I said, only lunatics say he didn't exist.
It's interesting to me that that people are saying that, when I find that people who tend to get closer to God and have faith, their life seems to get better. Like, most of your psyops send you down avenues that make your life worse, right? Like getting the vaccine, feminism, communism. Like, we just go down the list of things where people go down that road and they seem really freaking miserable. When it's, because I'm in recovery, I watch people come in as wild people and then start to understand a higher power and understand God, and their life tends to stabilize. Not that they're perfect, and being stable doesn't mean you don't have chaotic moments in your life, because there are chaotic moments in this realm that we live in. Wherever there's always, and I always say, God is always giving you challenges to learn how to deal with situations, because something bigger down the line is coming on. That's my 100% belief. So I've never, it's the weirdest psyop I've ever seen in my life. If they want you to believe that this thing that isn't real actually makes your life better.
Right. Yeah. 100%. That's why I always tell people that whether you believe or you don't believe, like, if I believe Christ has transformed me, and what his core message is, that you need to love God with all your heart, and how you do that is loving your neighbor as yourself. So it's about like denial of self. It's denial of like the fleshly things of the world, and doing more things for others and not being so selfish. So how am I wrong if that's what I believe? And that's how I live. Because I just know just the practicality of in my own life experience, when I've chose myself, I end up miserable. Like the excess of the things that I want, the things that I think that would make me happy never do. And it really is just it's like the Chinese finger trap, right? Like you think that pulling away from it will actually get you out of it, but actually you have to go the opposite way. So like when you focus on yourself so much, you focus on your own problems, they get bigger and it gets frustrating and you get more anxious. But when I focus on other people and what I could do for them, then my problems seem smaller. And it gives me more, I don't know, there's a lot more light. And I think that I also have an optimism about the world. I'm not completely totally jaded about things, even though this place can make you very cynical. But if I have a higher power and a higher hope at things I can't see, it allows me to know that regardless of circumstances, everything will be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. That's the core of recovery, too. It's like get out of self, help others. Why do you go through the steps? You go through the steps so that you can take someone else through the steps. And that's what it's all about. Meetings aren't even about you anymore. It's really about you helping the guy who has 1 day that doesn't understand how he can get 2 days. And they see you and you're like, I was a train wreck and I have 3 years. Then people are like, oh, fuck, I can do that. This fucking crazy person can do it. So that's the core of it. That is the core of, and, it gets back to my opinion that, the game of life is helping others. That's really what helping others achieve their goals. Abundance over scarcity, giving it away, money, opportunity, time, energy. That is the key to everything. And there's people in my life that I've seen given so much to so many other people. And, the culture and the society wants to take them down and they just can't do it because they've helped so many people over so many years. There's like a force of light around them. And I think it's true. I've never seen anybody who gives away everything that life doesn't get much better. I've never seen it ever in my life. It's the weirdest psyop. I think the biggest thing that they're trying to say is that it's like somehow pacifies you not to take action.
I guess the truth is that lots of people talk real tough online, especially when they talk about like a potential next pandemic, and they say what they'll do, and then we got guns, and we'll do this and we'll do that. I think most of those people are just full of it. I think that ultimately, we know, I'm sure as you guys have researched all the things that I've researched, that like the surveillance grid, all the system, all the walls seem to be closing in. And so like if you look at it like that, it's so bleak. But I think that, again, this is not all that there is. And I think you have to believe that. I think you have to believe that, because otherwise you are just chasing money and you're chasing self and you're chasing things that you could lose in a blink of an eye. And so if you have like real purpose, then to me, it's a more hopeful thing, because I don't know that we're going to fight our way out of this, like physically. I mean, if it comes to that, we'll see. But I mean, if it doesn't, then I think that this is like the slowly cooking of the frog. If there was a time to fight, it was probably a minute ago. It was a while ago.
Real quick, first of all, your studio is wonderful, dude. You got a great setup. It looks good. You mentioned conspiracy slop. Where do you want to go with that?
I don't know. I guess I don't know if it's just me getting a little more grown up in this space, and like you do it for a minute and you see so much stupid out there where I'm not sure if this is people just chasing clicks and likes and the money, or if it is actual feds. But I think from a lot of people's perspective is that we get associated with the craziest people in our spaces. And I think that's intentional. I think that makes sense, that if you do believe in a dark force that kind of controls the world the way it is now, that of course, if certain people are revealing truth in this space, of course, the enemy's not a complete moron. So he's going to infiltrate the conspiracy space and make it stupid and gay and retarded.
You know, I like a lot of stuff that Candace is doing. I understand that there are things that might cause a little apprehension or outright just questioning the validity of what she's doing. I like what she's doing. I think she's more right than she is wrong. I have very good friends who disagree with me on that, and they bring up some good points too. I don't think they're wrong. I think, you know, if to me, she's the female Alex Jones, and she
interesting. Okay,
she reaches the female side of the equation where Alex was very heavy male.
Yeah,
and men were behind it, and she's female, and the females have gone behind her.
She makes herself a little harder to dismiss too in her approach, just in her general demeanor.
Well, I would tell you that she comes in a time where we're a lot more accepting of certain things compared to what Alex was saying. The frogs are gay, and you're like, okay, and he turned out they are putting chemicals in everything that making everybody
really gay now.
So, but then when it was said, it was seen as so crazy, except for his most loyal fans were like, he's always right. So I
mean by like the smooth brains, the regular people, for a black woman who's,
in our culture,
incredibly clever.
Listen to black women. White women love saying
she's like a combination between Oprah and Alex Jones.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I think that's great.
And it's a perfect studio. Like, my girl watches it and she's like, it's the vibes. She gives good vibes. It's a girl thing. It's a vibe thing. She just instantly wants to listen.
Women are all about vibes.
She wants to listen to Candace now because of the look. Because I'm pretty sure if it was raunchy, she'd be like, it's not a good look. There's no pink in it. She loves how it's clean, perfect. It's Candace's vibe.
It's like why women love the Cheesecake Factory. It's like the food isn't mind-blowing, but the vibe is amazing. Right? It's like, take her to a vibe.
Yeah, any place that has a menu that it could really break your toe if it fell on your foot, like, you don't want to eat at that place. There's no way you can be that good at cooking a giant menu like that. That's possible.
Interesting, Johnny. I think you're right.
Anthony
but the
Bourdain
vibe is like phenomenal. It's like visually stimulating. Yes. But my friends who are critical of her is saying that her job is to bring in everybody and then say crazy shit. And then you kind of get people not knowing if they're coming or going. And I go, well, I mean, I think that's everybody. Not everybody is smart enough and has a good enough bullshit meter to know. And I don't know if I'm behind that. It's either I totally reject it or I totally accept it. Most people, that's why everything is broken down into such digestible shit. The more it's digestible, the more people will listen to it. Like I've been saying about stand-up comedy is now they're doing children's entertainment for adults. That's really what comedy is right now. It's like the most basic bitch shit because that's how you get the most fucking people. So I do find it interesting. What is there anything specific that's really like gotten you like upset?
Well, no, I guess it's like the Candace thing is actually really interesting because when I first started making videos like late 2021, the stuff that I was talking about seemed so insane to any person that I ever grew up with, anybody in my family. They all thought he's gone way off the deep end. I mean, the truth is a lot of the conspiracy stuff I was looking at is really actually pretty basic now, the stuff that I was talking about. Like the code in the movies, the symbolism between like on the magazine covers and all the celebrities. But then you have, and I want to say it was it probably 2023 maybe, when Tucker Carlson was talking about the Nephilim. And then I listened to a show like Candace Owens, and she's talking about stuff that we've been talking about for 5 years. And we were being called insane for talking about it. I mean, so a lot of people, as soon as we bring up Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson, they scream Operation Mockingbird, PSYOP, it's all fake. And the truth is, I'm not naive enough to believe that people like that aren't controlled to a certain extent. But I've always said, well, it's still significant if they're saying things that are true and they're getting this audience, they're getting a totally different audience than ever I could have reached. And especially it was funny, like my dad, he got to experience me learning a lot of things in real time, and he would just be rolling his eyes. And I can't imagine what he would be thinking if he was hearing Tucker Carlson say exactly what I told him 4 years ago or 5 years ago. So I think honestly, I think it's cool. I mean, I do think that that with any good psyop, there is a certain degree of truth in it. So they've got credibility that certain people like. Unfortunately, I don't have. I mean, with certain people, I have more credibility.
Right.
But,
it would be more the reach than the credibility. They have more reach than you. They have more reach than me. I mean, it's just the way it is. But I don't know. I think you're pretty credible, but I totally understand what you're saying.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, even in the Bible, it says that a prophet's not received in his own town, right? So Christ is getting denied by the people who he grew up around because he can't be this certain person because we know him. We know his family. And they know all your warts and they know all your past. So if I say it, they'll just be like, well, he really wasn't a very good student. He's never really been that smart. And of course, he's wrong about the things he's saying now. But if Tucker's saying it, it's like, oh my gosh, we saw him on Fox News. He's very intelligent. We've seen Candace on all these big shows. But the funny thing is about like the whole like Charlie Kirk investigation, I think this is kind of where it gets like closer to me because so many people in my audience, as soon as we start talking about Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, TPUSA, and all that stuff, they won't even entertain the idea that it was actually a real event at all. Like that 100% Charlie Kirk is living on some island. He's in Valhalla, and we are part of the psyop. So like I get called a Freemason now because I do think he's dead, and I could be wrong about that. I thought the Trump, the ear thing, I thought that was real at first. But then when I learned more information, I said, you know what, that probably was fake. When I found out the photographer that photographed George Bush while he's reading like My Pet Goat, when he just learned about the towers being attacked, was the same guy who caught the magic bullet in the air. Yeah. It was hitting his ear. I was like, okay, all right, I'm sorry, guys. I was wrong. Now that I saw he's got no marks on his ears or anything like that, I was wrong. I mean, I think that's what I like to be able to do is be able to say, hey, this is what I think right now. If I'm presented with better information, I could change my mind. But if I think it was real now, and maybe later I'll change my mind, maybe I'll be presented with something that's compelling that he is still alive, well, then I'll change my mind. But we can't even talk about certain things like this on my podcast because everybody is yelling Fed in the comments because I think it was real, but I don't believe what the FBI says about it. I don't believe what all these finest people on TikTok.
Why would you be a Fed if you're questioning a narrative? Listen, obviously, we get into this whole thing with like the only way you can pass anti-Semitism laws is if there's anti-Semitism everywhere. We've heard this a lot about how, there's paid people to stoke the fires of anti-Semitism. Not saying every one of them is it. I'm saying there are questionable motives to the whole thing, and that that would be part of the process, the nonlinear warfare, paying both sides to go kind of crazy. The one thing for me is that when it comes to Tucker Carlson or to Candace Owens, is that what are their numbers? The people that really, really get it wrong. Now your fans are like, hey, dude, I disagree with you. That's one thing. Then there's the presentation of a narrative over and over and over again, which most people in the space, even if you're in the kiddie pool section of the space, knows it's not true. Example, Ben Shapiro, right? Ben Shapiro has certain blind spots because he's paid to be there and it's part of his heritage that has cost him to lose so much of his fan base. Like, if your numbers keep good, if you're in the truth space, in the news space, and you're constantly lying, your numbers go down. And we've seen that with the mainstream media, and now we're seeing it with a bunch of people pushing certain narratives on the internet that they're losing their fan base at a record level. But Tucker and Candace, and again, they could be controlled. I don't know, dude. I don't know them on a personal level. I have friends of mine that are very big that when people go, oh, they're controlled up, and I have crazy conversations with them in the areas that we like to talk about. And I go, you don't know them. I know them. I'm not saying it couldn't have happened, but I go, it's very unlikely that happens. But if you're constantly lying to your crowd and constantly on the wrong side of the argument. Like a great example right now is Jack Posobiec, right? Like he's putting out a narrative or a story that everyone knows is, unless you're completely invested into one side of the discussion, everyone knows is a lie. And his brand is just getting murdered right now. Like he literally 9/11'd his career. You know, it's free falling on top of itself. And he's going to lose a big following. Dan Bongino, you know, a great example of a guy who was like top of the game, said one thing, did another, and now he's losing his fan base because he keeps BSing his audience. So, you know, for me, like I hear it in the comment section. I state things. I talk to people. The fans don't necessarily agree with. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them. But I think they understand that, like, over time, if you judge me on the body of my work, I've been more right than I've been wrong. And, you know, that based on what they know about me, that I'm trying to give the pure shit out, right? As pure as it can be. And, you know, we've had guests come on and they, you know, Bishop Larry Gators was a very messy divorce for us. And we didn't want it to be. That was his choice. But he came on and said Trump was still president during Joe Biden's thing.
Was this guy a big Q guy?
He might have. I don't know if he was a Q guy, but he was really into, like, he was talking about Kobe Bryant and all that stuff before everybody else was. And he used to have, like, carte blanche to come on the show. He'd be like, "Can I come on?" You're like, "Yeah, come on tomorrow." And he said that, and the fans had a very visceral reaction to it, and he called us Satanists and blocked us on everything, you know. So I think that, you know, I watch your stuff. You're a pretty honest guy. You're working pretty hard, and you're pretty consistent. And I think it's okay to question narratives, right? I think.
Oh well, I mean, of course it is. I love what you've been saying recently about the idea that I might be wrong, but I'm not lying.
Yes.
And I think that's the difference, is like that we're all wrong about certain things today. We don't know what we're wrong about. Otherwise, we'd correct it and fix it right now. But everybody's wrong. And that's the thing. It's like, if you listen to, I mean, there's not one podcast, there's not one big influencer that I agree with 100% of the time. So I don't expect anyone to agree with me 100% of the time either, because eventually I change my mind about things. And that's okay. And I think we're working in a space where we all kind of recognize we've been lied to about, like, it's like an unending list of things we've been lied to about. And then so we're trying to use the best evidence we have to try to formulate some kind of a coherent narrative. But then eventually, yeah, like, you got to give yourself room to be wrong. I mean, especially when you just say, like, I mean, all you have to really say is that here's what I know, here's what I think, here's what I believe, and here's a wild theory. And then the people want to fight about the things that we're theorizing about. I don't know. Like, we weren't there. You weren't there either.
We're trying to solve crimes in the dark, dude. You're going to get shit wrong. You're really trying to solve a crime. It's pitch black, and you got to figure out what just happened. It's not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, it's nearly impossible, but I think that it makes sense that these three-letter agencies know that too, and they're putting people that are not good faith actors in our space to, you know, to do like the Spider-Man meme where you're pointing at, like, you're the Fed. Everybody's doing that now.
Yes, you're controlled op, you're the Fed. And I always ask them, what do I get out of it? You know, like, I used to co-headline with a guy, and he's playing Madison Square Garden. I'm playing a gay bar in Jacksonville. Like, what am I getting out of it? I drive a Mitsubishi.
If I've sold out, I've done it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, this is the worst sellout I've ever seen in my life, dude. I couldn't sell a ticket in Albuquerque. Like, I'm the worst fucking controlled op of all time, dude. Like, what are we fucking talking about? Like, what am I getting out of it? That's it. What do I get out of it? That's crazy to me, dude. And it's
some of these people in the space now, because again, they think Charlie Kirk is still alive, and then some people think that nobody dies, like nobody in the public sphere dies.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like a Scooby-Doo cartoon where it's like eventually they're going to pull a mask off, and it's going to be the person who died is playing a different character. I mean, that's what some people think. It's crazy because if you do research secret societies, that part and parcel of like the secret societies, they will absolutely off somebody.
Yeah, of course.
If you think about, and if you think it's connected to that country over in the Middle East where they wear the little hats, I mean, we know what they just did to Gaza. Do you think that they would hesitate to take it out a very public voice that might be an enemy of theirs?
All right, guys, if you're starting a business, I'm starting one right now. You know, one of the hardest things to do is get everybody organized on the same page. And that's where our friends at Quo come in, okay? You know that moment where you text your whole team. Did anyone follow up with this guy? Silence, tumbleweeds. One thumb up emoji 2 hours later. Meanwhile, the customer has already moved on, got married, started a new business, and retired. At some point, you just gotta be like, let's fucking Quo, okay? That's why today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Quo, spelled Quo, the business phone system built so you never miss a call.
All your calls, texts, and voicemails live in one place with Quo, so anyone from your team can pick up a conversation, see the full history, and respond quickly. Quo is the #1 rated phone system on G2, trusted by over 90,000 businesses who rely on it to stay reachable and look professional every day. Quo's built-in AI agents can also handle after-hours calls, questions, and even book appointments, so you never miss a lead, even when your team is offline. Quo integrates with tools your team already uses, like HubSpot, Claude, etc., helping you save time, stay organized, and spend less time chasing information between systems.
Money is on the line. Always say hello with Quo. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/
tinfoil.
That's quo.com/
tinfoil.
And we thank them for sponsoring the show. My God, you should go to Johnny's house. You guys got to see this, how big this television is. Johnny, how'd you put that television up?
TaskRabbit, Sam.
TaskRabbit, man. Listen, TaskRabbit is great when you need things done around your house. Let me tell you about TaskRabbit.
TaskRabbit connects you with skilled taskers in your area for moving, furniture assembly, home repairs, yard work, mounting, and more. You can search for a tasker based on cost, skill set, availability, and past client reviews, so you know exactly who's showing up and can have confidence that they know what they're doing. Because taskers have assembled over 3.4 million pieces of furniture, completed 700,000 home repairs, and handled 1.5 million moves and counting. You can trust them.
That's numbies, dude. That's putting up some serious numbies. Guys, I've said this before. I'll say it again. I went in my old place. I needed something fixed. I couldn't figure it out. I used TaskRabbit, and the guy came over and fixed it easy peasy really quickly. And I can't thank him enough. That's how easy TaskRabbit is to use.
I've used them a ton of times to move heavy stuff like across town or something I bought on Craigslist that I couldn't figure out how to transport. They're tremendous for all that.
When life happens, your to-do list grows. Get ahead of it now and get $15 off your first task at TaskRabbit.com or on the TaskRabbit app using promo code TINFOIL. Taskers book up fast, especially up for same-day tasks. So book trusted home help today. That's $15 off your first task using promo code TINFOIL with TaskRabbit, the TaskRabbit app, or at TaskRabbit.com. And we thank them for sponsoring the show. You guys got to understand something. So much of who you become and opportunities come your way is also a hidden hand studying data. Like, you know, Johnny was in the GATE program. You know, they're looking for these people very early. Who, you know, why does Elon Musk make it to where he is and his brother didn't? Because I guarantee you they found something in Elon Musk that his brother didn't have that made them think this is the one that will fucking drive this thing as far as he can, because all he wants is money and women, and we can give him both of those and he'll do whatever we tell him to.
Yeah.
So it's constant data reading. So if you want to get into how many, like, do you guys see the, during the NBA Summer League that the Lakers player, his, you know, the guy they drafted, I think, very late in the first round, was giving up the, I can't even do it because the fittest flat earther will cut it up and put it on fucking something, but he's doing like the thing on the eye with the 3 fingers.
Like the okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, over his eye.
3 now, yeah.
And you see that a lot. Because I think what happens is they actually try to control, co-op all these guys, and they just wait to see who blows up. And then that person is already controlled, and they're all doing it. They're all going to these camps. They're all meeting with these people. Like LeBron James, like by the time he's 14, he's already a grown ass man with cars and women and all that stuff. They're playing. He's got a boule tattoo. They
Oh yeah.
From the jump, they're figuring out who the next guy is.
I love to imagine these athletes going to these same camps with all these politicians and historians and scientists, trying to have conversations with them.
Or it's their own version of it within sports.
Yes, the sports version of
like the sports Bohemian Grove, dude.
Have you ever
Bohemian Grove? There we go.
Have you ever had there was when I was kind of waking up to all this stuff, I was watching this guy named Unplug'em on YouTube. Have you ever seen any of his stuff?
No.
I think he used to be he was like a Detroit rapper, but he didn't make it because he didn't probably do all the butt stuff or sacrifice anybody. But he was kind of revealing a lot of stuff, the symbolism through the boule and his connection with like rappers. And he was joking. He was saying like these guys can barely read and they know all this esoteric stuff about all kinds of things. Like how does that happen? And I thought, man, it's some diabolical stuff when you think about it, because, when I was growing up, like in high school in the 90s, us in suburbia, white suburbia, we're emulating these rappers who are getting trained and initiated in all kinds of esoteric things. Even like the idea of with the B-boy stance, when they stand like that, it comes from like those Freemasonry things where they stand on like one of the checkerboard floors and they do this. And so they're calling everybody G. Like, where's the G coming from? You know what I mean? Like, where do you think the G comes from? Even them still calling themselves God. What up, God? What up, G? And so, like, G, you think from your first level of understanding is G comes from gangster, but is G coming from the Freemasonry compass and square? It's like, is that the G they're talking about?
G unit.
And so I think that's absolutely what it is. And so when you get into like the NBA players, I mean, I think, like LeBron James in the boule or is connected with them, and he throws up, I'm not going to do it either. The covering up the eye and putting up the 3 symbol. So then you have all kinds of people who idolize LeBron James growing up, Kobe Bryant and all those people. Of course, they're doing these symbols. They don't even know what they mean. So later, obviously, when they can be useful to the elites, then of course they're going to say, hey, you'd be a great person to promote X, Y, and Z. And then they're in the game.
100%. 100%. And I didn't even think about that. How they stand the boule on the checkerboard. I mean, the B-boy style. That. And, you bring up this Unplugged guy. There has to be some kind of weird satisfaction going, oh, I wasn't crazy. I did make it because I wouldn't do butt stuff. Like, you find out they're all gay, dude. They're all gay. It's insane to me. And it's like, this is Sam speaking. I have this real war on the N-word. Like, I want to kill that fucking thing, dude. I fucking hate it. It's just this nonlinear warfare psyop to give people a reason to fight with each other. And like, people get mad at me, and I just want to be like, it's our culture. Your culture is not your heritage, dude. Your culture is contrived in think tanks and put out by intelligence agents to get you to make bad decisions. So to get you detached from God, okay? I was watching the Michael Jackson documentary movie, Michael, and there's that scene where the Jackson 5, he's a little kid, and he's singing at I forgot, the Apollo or something. And you look at the crowd, everybody's in 3-piece suits. Everybody's in 3-piece suits. And, you could say that about everybody at the time. We used to fly in 3-piece suits. But, nobody's dropping N-bombs. Nobody's doing any of that stuff. And, like, where's that all come from? Oh, this CIA band called NWA comes in and just starts dropping N-bombs on everybody. I'm not saying the word wasn't used before that, but it becomes this giant cultural thing that people are trained to defend at all costs because they think it's part of their heritage. It is not. It's a psyop.
And then you got us white boys in suburbia calling each other that.
Yeah. It's so
and
powerful.
We're not doing it. Like, we're not using the hard ER at the end, right? We're just calling each other because, for one, the movies. So you think about all these comedians who made it sound so funny to say it, and then you listen to all the music that you like, and it's funny when they say it too. So like when you call your friends, that's what you call them.
I mean, you don't think Eminem was sent out there to make white people think like, oh, well, if he can say it, maybe I can say it.
Well, because
and Eminem
Does
was
Eminem say the N word a lot?
No,
he doesn't. Like he used to. He
gets really mad at it, but he loves the word faggot. It's like so
he says
crazy
that
to
all the
me.
time, yeah.
It's like Bill Burr's like that. Like I love Bill Burr. Like he got mad at me because I talk about when Paul Mooney called me the M word. Like that's when our relationship changed.
Burr got mad about that?
Yeah, I could tell because our relationship changed.
Oh, because
we were
because
doing
his wife-
Skankfest together, and I talked about Paul Mooney calling me the M word, and I say it, and we've never been the same since then, right?
Dude, if you write somebody off because of that, you
But
know
it's
what I mean?
funny
Like,
because
that's
he's
a
made
you
his
problem.
bones on ripping on women. So it's like one
Yeah.
demographic's okay, but another demographic is, and I get why I'm not, and I love Bill Burr, but it's like it's like just this mental gymnastics people have to do because it makes no sense.
You can see the programming when someone is like that. You can see it kind of take over their brain when it happens. You know what I mean? You can see them just kind of go like the person's not there anymore. They withdraw, and that programming just kicks in, and they're offended. You know?
Yeah.
It's almost as though it's not them that.
I always
is in
like
control.
at the comedy store, I'll follow a black comedian who just uses the M word as a noun, a verb, and an adjective.
Yeah.
And then I'll talk about when I was called the M word and just watch everybody shut down. And I go, that makes no sense, right? It makes no sense. You just have been programmed.
The music thing is the craziest though, because I mean they have a song that literally most of their fans can't even sing all the words to.
Well,
you know
that
what I
was Nas put out I think an album called the N word.
How do you even buy
right?
it?
I
You
would
know what
say
I
I
mean?
don't want to
Give
get
me the new Nas
JT in trouble, but the literal N word, okay. And he's like, no, if you're white, you can't say it. I go, hey, dog, I just dropped $20.
Yeah.
I'll drop N bombs left and fucking right. Like, I'm going to say it, dude. It's like crazy to me, dude. It's like crazy to me. But I want to get back to what you came on to talk about.
Yeah.
Conspiracy slop.
Not the N-word,
But whatever, this is fine. I mean, I do think it is funny. Like I said, there's something about it, and maybe this is just like the origin of like the woke political correctness. It's like they get you to say something. I mean, like their intent was obviously to get you to sing their songs. And then so of course you're gonna look up to these kind of people. Not that I ever wanted to be like Snoop Dogg, but it was funny when you're rapping along with their songs and you're rapping the lyrics to your friends, that eventually you're like, what do you mean we're not allowed to sing it?
Yeah, it's
Like that's
so
confusing to
dumb.
us. But then it really is. It's like that they've got your mind in a prison. Like, okay, the intent doesn't matter, the context doesn't matter. It's just you're not allowed to do this.
Yeah,
because you're a white boy.
There's
I'm
no
like, what
logic
do you mean?
to
Like
it.
I don't.
Yeah,
I thought
which is racist
I thought we were cool.
in
I thought
itself.
you were my dog, my G.
You can't use the word of the slave man. Well, why do you call yourself the word of the slave man? And then they'll get into it's actually a word from Africa meaning king. I'm like, if it was king, you can get mad if I called you it. You know you're full of shit right now. You know you're full of shit right now. And it's just like, listen, guys, I don't want to fucking have black people angry and crying in my set. It's just like, that's not I'm there to entertain, dude.
What if you did want that? What if that was your whole?
That's not my. At the core, we're entertainers when we're doing stand up. You're there to make them. It's like you can't get on the soapbox the whole time. They're there to kind of forget the world going on. It's comedy used to be the jester. Now we're along the lines of bread and circus. In a weird way to make people forget how crazy the world is. Which isn't that really crazy if you get off the internet. It's kind of normal.
What was that? That video you shared on Twitter of that woman talking about how we need more gays and what was that?
That is
comedy?
Elon Musk's trans daughter. Just I don't know where she's at. Looks like a Bravo production, and it's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. It is literally setting back gay pride by decades.
Decades, bro.
She's talking about wealth disparity. I'm like, your dad is a trillionaire.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking? You're the problem.
Yeah.
And she's like, we need them because I heard a new term there, which was chopped.
Yes, chopped. Yeah. That's why we need the gays.
That means when they chop it off?
The straights are chopped. Yeah.
No, the chopped. Yeah. Do you know what it means?
Kind of busted,
ugly.
Yeah,
you're ugly.
Yeah.
They're all ugly. She literally thinks the problem with politics is that everybody's ugly. I mean, it's the most vapid shit you've ever heard in your life.
I thought that's the point, isn't it? They always say that Washington is Hollywood for the ugly.
Yeah. But now they're starting to get
That's
more
what
and more
the point was,
attractive,
is that
right?
they can't be used in that way, so they've got a place for that.
Well, it's like when you get a lawyer, you don't want a really attractive lawyer. You want a really ugly lawyer that's angry at the world. You know what I'm saying? That's going to scorch the fucking
turn
earth.
your trial
you
into
don't want them
revenge
to.
for high
You wanted
school.
them to have to earn it.
Yes, 100%. They had to fight. Nothing was you don't want a lawyer that was giving shit. You want a lawyer that had to fight tooth and nail for everything they got. I want to get into going back to cultural slop. Is so just so you know, tentatively the fittest flat earther has agreed to come on the show.
I was about to say that's like slop.
Tentatively,
On tinfoil.
on tinfoil.
Okay.
So he left me a voicemail. I have a voice message on Instagram. I have to listen to it. I just haven't had time. But we'll do it. And, he wants to be, professional. And I'm going to listen, dude. Anybody who comes on tinfoil hat, I'm going to try and make it look as good as you can, even if you call me fucking Francis Bacon.
Triple-A bacon. Yeah.
No, but the new thing, do you hear what he is? That me and Diamond Dallas Page shapeshift into each other.
Is he alive?
Yeah.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah, he's now doing yoga videos.
Oh, he's been doing that for a long time.
But somehow him and I are the same person, and we're shapeshifting into each other. And it's
I can
very,
see that a little bit.
Split up. You're supposed to be this guy.
Yeah, that's
you right there.
Yeah, me and him are shapeshifting into each other. It's so crazy,
Like,
dude.
Does everything you get like the muscles and everything that he has? You have.
Why wouldn't I stay in that body?
I know, that's what I'm saying. One day you got heavy legs, the next day you don't.
It's just crazy to me, and everyone's like, "Whatever, Diamond." And like some people are onto the joke, right? And they run with it, and it's super funny. And then some people are like, "You can't disprove them." I go, "I can't disprove retardedness." Like, you want me to disprove that I'm not Diamond Dallas
he's
Page?
also like a giant. That guy's like 6'5", 6'6". I mean, he's huge.
Johnny, I'm shapeshifting.
Oh, all right. I'm sorry.
Okay, I can shapeshift into a midget if I want.
Oh, so you can.
Well,
It
you
doesn't
can-
matter how much matter is there. That's interesting.
Well, you can shapeshift, but if you have a freckle, you can't fix that.
Yeah. Right? It's like, this guy's got a freckle. That guy, it's so stupid.
yeah, dude, if you could shapeshift, you're gonna have 9 at least.
It's
You know what I
just
mean? You're
so
not gonna.
dumb. Why of all the people, and this is not against Diamond Dallas Page, the guy's a legend, lived a great fucking life, but why would I want to shapeshift into him?
Yeah, that's a weird one, bro.
Right?
Maybe
Why-
you're not given a choice.
Why
Maybe
wouldn't I want to be Ronaldo?
But-
Why would I shapeshift into the best looking guy on planet Earth?
But if you don't think, well, what do you think Dallas thinks when he shapeshifts into you? How do you think Dallas is like,
Yeah.
God, I gotta be Sam?
How come I'm always the downgrade on this equation?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you're never the
I'm never-
aspirational
I'm
figure.
never the
Sir
A
Francis
side. I'm
Bacon
always
decided he would make the most influence in 2026 as being Sam Tripoli.
It's just like I want
No offense, but
No, I want out all the time.
But
Give me
okay.
I wouldn't come back.
There's got to be an upgrade, like you said. You think there's like a homeless guy who's like, I get to be Sam Tripoli today. I get to shape into
Yeah, it's like
Sam.
being John Malkovich, where you can just crawl into a tunnel.
Hold on,
and
I'm
get in your head,
shapeshifting Dallas Page, and then someone shapeshifting into me.
Dude, I don't know how
It's a
many times are we-
non-stop chain.
What are the rules?
What are the rules? What are we?
How,
Who stops who?
Well, that's
Bill
why
Gates?
that's why we're gonna have him on to find
Yeah,
out.
we got to find out.
Yeah,
You think Johnny's a shapeshifter?
yeah,
Shapeshifter?
for sure.
I wish.
But it's just it's a lot of stuff out there that is I feel that okay, clones, shapeshifting, all that stuff. That to me is like white belt shit. Like into the world of like what's really going on. Yeah. And it's like I would normally not like give a shit. Like the Francis Bacon stuff kind of made me laugh at first, but then he started like getting nasty, like trying to disparage my name and that I'm a fucking controlled op, which is trying to destroy my credibility. And then he went after Jeremiah Skiba's dad, and like that to me,
he's gone after me a few times. We used to be friendly.
Yeah. What about the other?
Well, so what do you think? Sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
What do you think is the motive?
Man, I would say that I've tried to think about that, and it hurts my brain to think because, I mean, I know I can't speak for anybody else. I don't really think that you're Dallas Page or
Thank you.
Francis Bacon.
Thank you.
But all I know is when I get called a Mason by him, because I want to say that he specifically called me a Mason because I took the Charlie Kirk thing as him actually being killed. And I thought that's a weird thing. Like, you think about it, we would agree about so many different things, but like that's the line for you. So like I know that I'm not one. So what he's saying is not true. Like, why is he saying it though?
Why
and that's
is
the confusing
he
part.
saying
Like, that's the real confusing part, because so many people that I know that he's friended in like the content creator space, he's eventually called them out too. Like almost every one of them. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, as out of all the original people that I knew he was talking to, he hasn't called out everybody. And it's weird. I mean, it's weird. It's like, it's not a benefit to you, especially as a podcaster, to call everybody controlled op when you go on people's shows, you talk to them. And for one, it's like, because they're not. I mean, again, we don't know who's telling the truth all the time or why they're saying what they're saying. But I mean, it's a very cynical way to go about life.
Hey guys, what do they say? Data is the new oil. Your data is gold, and people want that data. And that's why when it comes to protecting my data, I trust, and we all trust, our good friends at Cloaked. Let me tell you about Cloaked.
Data brokers make millions selling your info to spammers, scammers, and stalkers. You consented is in quotes there, but it was buried in the terms and conditions no one reads. They're betting you won't do anything about it, and they're usually right. Most services just remove your data after it's already out there, but the problem is you keep creating new vulnerabilities every time you sign up for anything.
All right, so go to Cloaked.com. They have this thing where you put in your phone number. I put it in there. I thought they weren't going to know anything. I've been, trying to keep my data hidden. No, they have everything. I'm not saying I'm scared, but it needs to get disappeared. It needs to go away. So Cloaked.com is going to take care of it. It had my social security number, my address, my birthday, who I'm related to. I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude. We were sitting here watching XG when he first did it, and he just lit up. He was like, oh my God. That's why, again, XG, you got to sign up for Cloaked. Cloaked uncovers where your data is being sold and then removes it. Unlike their competitors, the Cloaked app also lets you generate unlimited burner usernames, email addresses, and phone numbers to use whenever you sign up for a website, service, or app. This is like the silver bullet that kills these kinds of data brokers, kills them dead. When you use a burner account, you're not just protecting your identity, you're disrupting the entire data collection game, providing them with worthless info.
Cloak monitors the dark web and detects if your personal information has been exposed, has a built-in VPN and password manager, AI-powered spam call filter, provides you with a 1 million identity theft insurance policy. Protect your information before someone else profits from it. Go to cloaked.com/tinfoil and enter your phone number for free scan and 30% off any Cloaked plan. That's cloaked.com/tinfoil for a free security scan and 30% off. That's Cloaked, CLOAKED.com/tinfoil. Privacy isn't dead, it's Cloaked.
But the truth is, like, some of the craziest stuff that he's saying, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he actually believes it or not. I really don't at this point. I mean, it seems like he thinks this is, but I just know he's saying things that are not true. So why is he saying it?
It's like that one page where I'm sure you guys seen it, where everyone's transgender, and then she finds a way to be like, "Oh, Justin Bieber is a transgender," and then she finds a way where and you're just sitting there. I'm like, "Fuck!" Then what are we doing here?
The gender aversion stuff is so weird. I think it's totally demonic, because it's like you're constantly thinking, what kind of genitals those people really have?
Yeah, you spend a lot of time thinking about genitals when you're in that business, huh? You're so right.
Well, yeah, it's like, well, that you'd say that, so they have kids together, so it's actually the guy who carried the kids, but then there's pictures of the woman pregnant and stuff like that. But it's like, this is a really, really long game you're playing here. And like, what is really ultimately the point of that? Now, the thing is, they do take away from the idea that there are inverted people, and I know that there are.
Yeah, 100%.
But when everybody is, nobody is. It's like when they have that model where they put the skull over somebody's face.
Yeah.
And they say, every one of them is the opposite of what they say. It's like, maybe your model's flawed.
Yeah.
If it gets 100% of the people on the wrong side of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Are there people who are being presented as women that are really were men? Of course. I mean, 100%. All of them?
Can't be all of them.
All of them? Are you telling me there's no hot biological women that could be turned into actresses? Is that what you're telling me, dude? I mean, it's just it's just a step too far to believe that there's no biological women that are famous, that they're all dudes. It's just, it defies any logic from a guy who believes they position politicians marry trans people.
They're trying to ruin Big Mike.
What do you mean?
They're trying to say like she can't be it. Like she's not. So Big Mike. Big Mike's one of the ones where we sit there and we're like, do you guys really think it's a dude? Do we really think it's a dude?
She should go back to being a man. She might be able to be the president again.
Well, it's just there's weird things with that. I mean, like that's an example where I go, it's possible. I mean, it's not. I mean, like, you know, it's my joke. These trans are like iPhones. They're just getting slicker and slicker, you know, but if you're like every single one of them is trans, Winona Ryder, trans, you know, Jennifer Aniston, trans, like everybody's fucking trans. You know, it's like, are there some first ladies that seem to be like very manly?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like Barbara Bush, man. I know they modulated her voice, but there's some serious pictures where you're like, well, especially now that we're so trained, like trans have become such a big part of the culture. Your ability to clock them quicker. You know, back then nobody thought about that shit.
I mean, what we're talking, who's pushing this? You don't think Bridget McCrone is pushing these crazy people to sit there and tell everybody everybody's trans, so no one believes that I'm a trans?
I mean, that's
what I was gonna. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that when you flood the system, and I think this is ultimately my whole point, was that if you say everyone's trans, you lose most people because they're out. Yeah. And so they don't even want to hear you if you actually do have good evidence about one person, because you're like, oh, I've heard this theory before. Everybody is a trans. And the same way that Fittest Flat Earther will say that some of these people are fallen angels. Now, I think that that's actually possible, that some of them could be. And I think it would be like a total outlier. I mean, this is wild theorizing. But what if there was one? I mean, you think about movies like The Devil's Advocate. There's that show Lucifer. Even in that kind of garbage Tolkien show on Amazon Prime, The Rings of Power, like Sauron is actually appearing to be a man. Like, is that possible? I mean, I think it is possible. It says in the Bible that you need to be careful how you treat strangers because you could be entertaining angels unawares. Ooh. So, I mean, I think that actually is possible. But when you say everybody is a fallen angel, everybody in Hollywood, everybody in sports, everybody in podcasting is a fallen angel, well, then it does kind of, it murkies things so much that normal people, rational people would say, this is stupid, because it is stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you. It just does a disservice to actually trying to figure out who is really what and why that is done. And most of the time it's positioned to be demoralization. And now with how open trans are, why would they even lie about it anymore? Like the girl that was the trans lead in the latest, let's say, By the Bell, and then she regrets getting transitioned. She can't, you know, she's like one of the detransitioners that is talking about to everybody. You know, they were open. She's a trans. Like, why would they lie about that anymore? It's just weird to me. It's just, and I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, we understand that the trans agenda is very Babylonian. We understand that. I have trans friends. I have no problems with them. It's very Kabbalistic, very Kabbalistic. So it's like we understand that movement, but it's like it does disservice to the bigger thing when you're just the boy who cried wolf about trans. The trans
you're right
are
about
coming.
That too, that
you're like, there's no trans, dude.
Did you ever read that book, One Nation Under Blackmail by Whitney Webb?
Oh yeah, I read some of it. Yep, for sure.
I didn't finish it. It was a little too. I don't know. There was too many footnotes in that book. It was a hard read. But anyways, I got the general gist of it. That most of these people were secretly closet homos.
Yeah.
And through that, they could blackmail them all. But if you think about it, it's way harder to blackmail somebody for that today because
that's why it's pedophilia.
Right, exactly. So that's why it seems like that was the switch. And you're right. Yeah, the trans stuff has been so normalized where it's not as crazy if they did it now and they openly said they did it. It'd be harder to blackmail somebody like that now because they'd say, you're actually a bigot for trying to call them out.
Yeah. I mean, all these NBA players are hooking up with trans now.
But that's the thing Sam said. You said it. Oh, if trans are so beautiful, then why when we call Michelle Obama trans? Why do you guys get mad? She's beautiful, right?
You've been telling us they're unicorns for decades. Now we're like, she's a unicorn. Ah!
No, she's not.
Yeah,
like,
she's
what?
not a unicorn. It's so crazy. All right. So, I'm sure you had this brought up to you before. Ed Mabberry, we love him on the show. Great guy. One of our favorite guests,
Mabberry,
just like Ed Mabberry, right? I love him so much. I say his name wrong
so much.
every time.
Like me.
I'm a piece of shit, just like you. I'm sorry. I'm not good at this. Okay, I have a really
Your best friend, Ed Mabberry.
shut up, dude. All right, every time I see him, I apologize profusely. You're one of the people who are very much into, there's a possibility we are in the little season. He is very much saying that we're not in the little season. I wish I could get you two to talk, not in a debate, but just a discussion.
Arm wrestle.
Yeah, I wish you guys could get you guys oil wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And then we'll just call you guys trans the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Little Seeds? Because I've seen your shows, I've seen your clips about it. I find it all very interesting. I'm open-minded to both of it because, it's like it will get really dark and evil. I'm like, it's pretty dark, it's pretty evil right now. I don't know how well it could be worse. If if you look at like World War II and all the stuff we did in the Middle East after 9/11 and all the crazy child trafficking stories coming out, like it seems pretty dark right now.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, to me, again, this without going through all the biblical evidence for it, it just makes more sense that if Jesus was telling the original audience for the gospel, he was saying he was going to return in their generation. And all the epistles back that up because they're saying the exact same things. The book of Revelation says the exact same thing. It says that these are the things that are, and here's the things that soon must come to pass. The book ends with, John, do not seal up this prophecy because the time is at hand. So with that understanding, does that really indicate that it could be 2,000 years later or 2,000 years plus from that date? I mean, with a lot of mental gymnastics, you could make that case. But to me, it makes more sense, and maybe it's just a situation where people have their perception of like what the millennial kingdom was supposed to be might be different than actually what Jesus was describing. And that's the funny thing is like, so a lot of people would say, well, where's all the evidence? Well, Jesus says to the Pharisees in Luke 21, actually, I think it's Luke 17, they asked him when the kingdom will come or what's the evidence of this kingdom? And he says, it's not coming in ways that can be observed. He tells Pilate that my kingdom's not of this world. So then people are saying, well, where is it? I want to see it. It's like, well, he said it wasn't going to come in ways that can be observed. So I think that Ed Mabberry is a Protestant, and the Protestants have a different view of eschatology than they did 200 years ago. Like if you looked into like John Darby, like C.I. Scofield, before Darby, all the Protestants, just like the Orthodox Church and just like the Catholics, were something you'd call amillennialist. So that means they believe that it's a spiritual millennial reign that we're living in right now. But it wasn't until John Darby that they started to reinterpret this thing with this idea of this secret rapture that's coming. And it's all based on this dual covenant theology about Israel and then the church. But that was a heresy in the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. And the only reason it's not a heresy in the Protestant Church is because there's a million denominations of Protestantism. I thought it was interesting. I just read a book about this, and it's a little bit esoteric, but it was called Kabbalah Secrets That Every Christian Needs to Know. It's written by Deanne Looper. And so in this book, these Jewish rabbis were promoting the idea that Kabbalah was eventually going to be taught to all the nations, and then this would bring about the Mashiach. Well, when they decided that the rest of the world could learn about Kabbalah was in the 1840s. And that's right around the time John Darby basically changed all the Protestant idea about a spiritual kingdom to a physical kingdom that is centered in modern-day Palestine, Jerusalem, and Israel. And at that same time, you had these several different sects of I wouldn't call them Protestant sects, but different kind of Christian denominations popped up. Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, and also the Latter-day Saints. And they were all based around that they were living in the last days in the 1840s, or like in the early 1800s. I don't know. I think that's really, I mean, I think that's
very
evidence.
Interesting.
I think that's evidence that this is when some kind of shift happened. And so the way that like somebody like Ed would promote his idea is like, this is what the church has always taught, but it's like it's not what the church has always taught.
Well, first of all, no ill will towards Ed. We love him. I don't want.
No. I'm saying that in the same way that I commended you for saying that you might be wrong, but you're not lying. I don't think that Ed is lying, and I don't think that we disagree because I don't think we're not brothers and sisters in Christ because we don't have the same eschatology. Because I don't think that's what it's about. I think that's what people want us to do. They want us to fight, and I don't really want to fight. I mean, again, these are my interpretations, and these are my best guesses based on the evidence that I've been presented. But like me pointing back at old historical stories and in history that I do believe, or I'm taking with a pinch of salt, that's no different than what they're doing today when they say every headline, every bomb that drops in the Middle East is proof that end times prophecy is happening right now. It's not any different because
what you're saying interesting, dude.
Well, one of the main points that these people have been bringing up that's saying, oh, well, we're definitely in the end times because in the book of Revelation, it talks about the Euphrates River drying up. Well, now it's filling back in. And also that's at the end of the book. So it's not actually at the beginning. So like they're waiting for like this prophecy to take place and they're saying, oh, here's evidence of it taking place. But now it's actually filling back in. So we're reading a book that was written to certain people and we're trying to say that it's written to us, but that's crazy, honestly.
That's interesting. So you bring up something very interesting. Did this book you said Kabbalah for Christians, or what was it? The book you said
it was called Kabbalah Secrets That Christians Need to Know.
Okay, and is that where you found out when they said they were going to start teaching the world about Kabbalah? Is it stated in there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I find that very interesting, and I must say something that could be seen as very nuts, because you bring up that all of a sudden all these different shoots of Protestantism starts coming up and all these different offshoots of Christianity and all that. So I have this theory, and it's something that a fan of mine pointed out when we were watching a video, Wacky Jackie. And I watched this video, this guy, he broke down Kabbalah and what was in Kabbalah, and he talks about the Zohar, and he breaks down what actually these Jewish mystics believe, and they believe that when God decided to create the world, the universe, he put his energy into the tree of life. And it was so powerful that the tree of life exploded and God's energy went all over the place. Mm-hmm. And that's where, and his energy went inside the Jews, the Hebrews, right? The Hebrews. And,
they have a soul and we don't.
Yes. And what it is that if you believe in duality, if God's energy comes over here, there's chaotic energy, and the chaotic energy is in us. And that their job is, whether you want to hear it or not, is to bring calm, to get rid of the chaos in the universe. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the reason I bring that up is because when I heard that, and then Jackie said what she said, I was like, "Holy shit, dude! She's right. That sounds like where the Big Bang Theory comes from." So
it absolutely does, yeah.
So everybody's like, it's Jesuit, dude. I go, I know, but they infiltrate everything. And now you're saying that, they got into Protestantism. It totally fucking lines up to me. That's where the Big Bang Theory comes in. Johnny says it all the time. He's like, the scientists say, if you just give us this, okay, we can explain everything else. We can't explain this. But if you give it to us...
If you grant us one miracle, we can explain.
Yeah, I love that science is asking for you to grant miracles.
Just one.
Right? Like the non-religious people want a religious miracle. So what you just said there blew my mind. Yeah,
well, it's a situation like what you're talking about with the Big Bang. They have this belief that I think is they're their god or their creator of everything was called Ensof, and he was more like an energy force. And then he created the god of what we would consider the god of the Bible. And then through this, with the Sephiroth tree, with like the circles or the spheres in it, there's this order of things. They need to come back together. But like there's this corruption of the heavenly things and the earthly things. And then there's through Kabbalah and through knowledge and gnosis, eventually this comes back together where they attain this kingdom of heaven on earth, which again, it's very similar to actually the idea that it's a physical kingdom eventually that's restored. Like the godly Adam is restored with the earthly Adam. And there's this symmetry here. Like in some ways, it's like what they're saying is not, I mean, it's obviously gobbledygook, but I mean, it's like that we do know, like as a Christian, we'd say that there is this, because of sin, there's been this separation. But we don't believe that God is corrupt in heaven, but what they believe is like there's sparks of God in all of us. Maybe not the Gentiles, but they believe that there's these sparks of the divine that are here that actually need to be restored to the heavenly Adam.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to me that you said that. So I'm open-minded to both sides. Again, nothing but mad love for Ed. He's supposed to come on. If you were getting him a date, he'll come on, and when he wants to talk about a bunch of stuff, love and respect. And everyone's allowed to have their opinion. I want to get into demonology. That stuff I feel is like more fucking more relevant than ever. What we're seeing in the world right now seems to be like this. I've said it before, and I think you've said it a bunch of times. Like the old gods want to come out and play. These pagan gods that were kind of, I've said this before. The reason they hate Jesus is Jesus came down and ended child sacrifice and animal sacrifice and worshiping of all these fallen angels. And I feel like these fallen angels have just been waiting to come back, and they want to be worshipped and they want sacrifice. And that's why they hate Christianity so much.
Well, yeah. So I think this strengthens my view of the little season is the idea that during when the Bible was written, like who would the majority of the Romans said was God back then? They would have said it's Zeus or Jupiter, right? So there was temples to him. There was temples to Apollyon. There's temples to Artemis. There was temple to all these gods. But during the reign of, Constantine, the Roman Empire becomes Christian, converts to like the Byzantine Empire that lasts for 1,000 years, Christian Empire. And then during Theodosius I, paganism is straight up outlawed. And so I think that this is where you kind of get the genesis, I think, of a lot of maybe the more modern secret societies, is because they still worship these gods, but they're not allowed to worship them openly. And so I always think about that quote from The Usual Suspects about how the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. But if you think about it, he wasn't trying to convince the world he didn't exist back in the times of Rome. But maybe that's why it's a hidden hand now.
Yes.
It's a hidden in plain sight thing where you see all these public buildings, and you see all this iconography, these old gods, but now it's just mythology and it's not a big deal. But maybe that's exactly what they think. They want you to think that that's the case because they can't openly say it, and that's why during all these ceremonies, like to the World Cup, for the Olympics, these concerts, these Super Bowl halftime shows, that they're flaunting it like right in your face. But I mean, if you don't really know what you're seeing, like you don't know that they're actually worshiping a totally different God than they would ever publicly acknowledge. They do it with like a wink and a nod, but not really openly saying exactly what they mean. So anyways, but yeah, we were going through on my podcast, we were going through a apocryphal book that's not in the canonical books of the Bible. It's called the Testament of Solomon. And this is all about how Solomon was using this sigil ring that has a pent alpha on it, which is a pentagram. And he was using this to control these demons. And he was asking them all kinds of questions about what they did, what
Solomon,
angel
right?
are they bound to.
Solomon?
Yeah, you were asking about this earlier.
Yeah, okay, I'm very excited about this. Tell me about. Sorry to cut you off, dude. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah, so it's King Solomon of the Bible. And so in this story, it's it's not saying Solomon's writing this, and of course this is why this is not in the Bible. It's because they say that this was a book written somewhere in like the early, like Middle Ages, Dark Ages. But a lot of the things actually do point to Christ, and that's why they say this is an older tradition, or a newer tradition that points back to things that Christians already believed. But yeah, it's really interesting because I think this is where you get the idea where the Freemasons are really giving so much reverence to King Solomon, is because he does have this power over the demonic. And even if you read back to old biblical stories, maybe in the times of Josephus, he points to the idea that King David and his son Solomon had control over the spirits. And so when the Messiah shows up, it's prophesied that he's going to have that same kind of power. So when Jesus starts going out there, casting out demons and commanding demons to leave and go to the abyss, that's why there's this association with Jesus and this power that's already been foretold. Because even when Jesus is being questioned by the Pharisees and they're saying that he's casting out demons by the power of Beelzebul, well, that comes from the Testament of Solomon, because eventually he encounters this very powerful spirit who's called the Prince of Demons. And the Prince of Demons has control over these other demons, but he's bound by the Prince of Peace, Emmanuel, who's the prince that's to come. So I think that this is where you get this modern idea of like what witchcraft is it's you're controlling demonic powers through sigils. And I think that's why you see the pentagram used so often in the cult, because this is a sigil that has power over these spirits, because it's the same symbol that was on Solomon's ring.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Solomon used them to build the first temple, right? That's in that book. Isn't that right?
Yeah, in that book, yes, absolutely. He used certain demons, I think, to saw stones. He did some to weave fabrics. I think he did some to melt down gold for the foundations and things like that. Yeah, I mean, of course, it gets into some wacky stuff, but the stuff that is revealed in there, it's not something I could say for 100% is true, but this is what I believe that a lot of the cultists and the Kabbalists believe, because that's why you get into like later that some of these witchcraft books like the Grimoire, one of them is the lower keys of Solomon. So the Testament of Solomon is actually discussing, like, it's basically telling the story about what happened, but the lower keys of Solomon is more like a how-to book about how to use these spells that are mentioned in this book. Yeah.
How many people have read that and just fucked their lives up, dude? Just trying to dance with demons, man?
Think about what that means of the temple, you know, and all the symbolism of the temple if it was built by demons under the control of Solomon.
Johnny, and that's crazy that you guys bring that up, is because just think about what they're saying AI is, dude, that it's like the spirits of the Nephilim. And now they're trying, and there's this big fight between the old school and the new school. The old school wants a brick and mortar third temple, and they're saying that the new school wants the third temple to be the power grid, the surveillance system. That's super interesting, man.
Well, I mean, it's interesting when you consider that a bunch of years, forever, people have wondered how that some of the ancient megaliths were built. And if you understand that if there's any truth to this, and we can't really explain how the pyramids in Giza were built, or the temples in Baalbek, Lebanon, and the things in, like Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuaman, like how were they built? Like how did they move these stones? I mean, it does seem like a supernatural thing, or it's a completely alternate technology that we don't have today. But I mean, it is associated with giants, most of those megaliths. So like the disembodied spirits are the deceased giants. So maybe that's somehow the knowledge of it. Now, the thing that gets a little bit weird for me is that when I think of a demon, I think of a disembodied spirit. But they're doing physical things in this book, and that's the real confusing part about it, because it seems like, I don't know if they're demons because if they can manifest physically, or if it's a situation where some of them are like demons that are still in their flesh suits, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And they're just like almost like soul hoppers too. They can jump from, bodysuit to bodysuit. It's crazy, dude. And like, I don't understand why this isn't stuff they show on television, because this is way more interesting to me.
Or talked about it at church. How about you let me know a little bit of this?
Yeah, why not, dude? Let's get into this, dude. Yeah. I should just start something where you just talk about all this shit. This is way more interesting to me.
Yeah, that's what I always told my preacher, because he had this theory about aliens being demons, but it would be the kind of thing that he would like, you really want to know? Like, come out, tell it. Like he would like not say it around other people. Yeah, he would whisper it.
Say
like,
it in a Clint Eastwood time.
Yeah,
I want to know the truth.
And I'm like, dude, this should be leading Sunday school. You know what I mean? Like,
dude.
This is fascinating.
Well, I get that. I think it's because it comes from a place, and I kind of respect it a little bit, is the fact that, so I have a podcast. I don't have a church congregation that I'm talking to about this stuff. So like I can say that, hey, there's likely some bones to spit out from what we're going to talk about and what we're theorizing about.
Great way to put it.
So when you think about it, like from a perspective of, I grew up like in the 80s and 90s, and then we were going through like what they call the Satanic Panic. So like I wasn't allowed to watch He-Man at some point because my parents just said it's demonic. Well, I don't think they were wrong about that, but I think that's not really a great answer for a kid most of the time. Like they could have been right, but why is it? And I think this is why, like, when you read like a book like the Testament of Solomon, you start to understand like why we're seeing certain symbols and sigils all over the place. Like the idea that the pentagram is used everywhere, like everywhere. Is that why because it's like, that's not the only way to draw a star, but that's the way that we've all learned how to draw a star.
Oh, that's interesting.
Is this something where it actually does have power in certain people's minds? Now, I think that the important part for a Christian is like that Solomon is asking these demons which angel they're frustrated by or which angel they're bound to. And it makes sense that the angels said in the book of Enoch in Genesis 6, that these demons likely have their patriarch, their fathers were angels. So there's this hierarchy in the spiritual dimension. So when you write angels' names, or if you ever seen how like they write like the names of stars and angels, they're written in sigils. So I think this is why like you have this sigil written in order to control this certain spirit that, of course, if you're chasing clout and money and all the things, I mean, that's what's offered to Solomon in this book. But of course, he's got all that already, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, as a Christian, you have authority over these spirits because they're all prophesying, or they're all saying that eventually they're going to be controlled by Emmanuel. They're controlled by, and I want to say they said the gematria of his name might have been, I think it was 644, which I thought was interesting. And the gematria of Jesus is 888, which is like the number to symbolize infinity. So as a Christian, you don't need all these other esoteric ideas about how to cast out demons or control them, because the Holy Spirit and the authority of Christ actually compels them to leave. But it doesn't give you the authority to use them to build your house or to seek riches with. And I think that's obviously why the occultists would use whatever knowledge that separates it from Christ in order to get their bag.
And you bring this up about Christ is brought to cast out demons. That was one of his jobs. And if you want to get into the argument like Jesus, or even if you want to go farther, God, like when I don't know if it was this show or the other show you mentioned that your friends like, I'm an atheist. Yeah. I don't believe, it's simulation, blah blah blah. It's like, for me, one of the greatest arguments for God is that this evil class that runs this world all worship dark arts. Right. They play the game. The symbolism's there all the time. And by their own admission, we live in a dualistic world. So if there is darkness, there must be light. And if there are all these ancient, so if you go, well, Judaism is the real shit, right? If you want to believe that, and we can see where Babylon, the Jews were slaves to Babylon, and Babylonian mysticism made its way into Judaism, right?
Right.
They believe in demons too, dude. Solomon was controlling demons. So you're only going to believe part of this story and not the whole story? The parts that conveniently fit your narrative? that doesn't make any sense to me. It's got to be the whole thing. If there is darkness,
Islam obviously believes in demons too. They call them jinn.
Yep.
And what's interesting in this book, there's one account where Solomon is questioned by, like, I think the king of Arabia to go try to bind this demon who's like a wind spirit. And what he does is he sends one of his servants to go bind him in a flask, in a bottle. And then he captures this jinn in a bottle, and he takes it back, and eventually he controls this spirit too. But it's like, this is a story about where we get the genies and lamps from.
Oh my God.
I mean, I think it does. I think that's exactly what they're saying there. It's like, where else do you get that idea from? So that, yes, there is a view in Judaism, especially in Kabbalah, and also in Islam, that does correlate to what they believed in Christianity too. So, but now, like you said, that they won't talk about this in church because it is a little bit strange. But I mean, like, this is a belief that's been believed for thousands of years. For sure,
they should just have one day at the church, maybe a slow day, where they were like, today we're going to talk about all the weird stuff, and you just come to hear about the demons and all that stuff. Like, I would love.
There's so much weird shit. Like, I mean, the witch at Endor, like that whole story is. Mm-hmm. There's so many passages that aren't taught, especially in Protestant congregations, and like, have a ton of mystery, and I think they're difficult to relate to for modern audiences, so that they avoid them, and maybe the lessons aren't as relevant because of the age, it's a different time altogether.
Right.
Your frame of reference is different.
Yeah, but we can enjoy Game of Thrones and they're flying on dragons.
That's true. Yeah. No, that's true.
We can be like, well, that's cool. I'd like to do that at some point.
Oh, yeah. I think, if you think about it, like the story in the Testament of Solomon is he's got this ring that's got all this power over all these spirits. So you think about, like, the movie, like The Lord of the Rings. It's like, what do you think that's about?
Oh, man.
Is that this ring has great power, but eventually it corrupts. And then the story of Solomon is eventually he's corrupted. He's totally corrupted. I mean, the Bible obviously doesn't explicitly state that it was because of the one ring that ruled them all that corrupted him. But this is a story where Solomon is gaining all this esoteric knowledge. And ultimately the source was God, but then he's seeking outside of what God has taught him. And he's going further down the rabbit hole, especially with with his 700 wives and his 300 concubines. And then eventually he's going off with, I want to say it's interesting because the book of 2 Kings, it mentions that eventually the Queen of Sheba comes to see how wise Solomon is and to pay reverence to him. And it mentions in the Testament of Solomon that there's this sorceress from the south that comes and visits, and it tells the exact same story. And eventually, it's kind of implied that there's some rendezvous between the two of them. And this is where eventually Solomon, all his Canaanite wives, eventually starts putting up all these high places for these other gods. And it could have been something that, if you start to learn a little bit of this stuff, maybe the thirst for more knowledge, more gnosis, leads you to darker places, and eventually it turns into corruption.
Yeah, isn't that like that Tracy Twineman? Isn't that kind of the story of that whole thing? Like, started getting into conspiracies, and then she started getting into, like, the Ouija board and all that stuff, and then it just ended badly, sadly. That's crazy. JT follows JC, the man. Great set. Great set. Great show, dude. Great show, dude. Really great show, man. I always love having you on. You have an open door anytime you want to come on. Really great show. Loved the conversation. Anything one more time, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, if you guys are on YouTube, just check out my YouTube page, JtfollowsJc. If you like to listen to podcasts on Spotify, Apple, Spreaker, all the auto podcasts, look up JT's Mixtape. If you want to find me on Instagram, TikTok, X, I think that's about it. JtfollowsJc as well. Look me up on Facebook at Joe Telford.
All right, man.
I think that's about it.
I love it, dude. Thanks for coming on. All the links below, and thanks for coming on. And let's break down the episode. All right, guys, what do you think about JT Follows JC? I love that conversation, dude. That was a
too,
great
yeah.
conversation. It's
Yeah.
like one of those where you just talk about a bunch of stuff and you get a bunch of information out, and he's just really funny.
What do you think about the little season? Where do you fall on that?
I'm open-minded to it. And again, I just want to say we love Ed. Like, I don't want anyone to think there was an attack going on there.
No. I think he knows.
Ed Mabberry. Marbury.
Yes.
Ed
No,
Marbury.
you second guessed it. You had it right. Dude.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
dude. We love him.
Mabberry.
We love him, dude.
Think
we
of
love
Andy from Mabberry.
Okay, Andy from
Sound
Mabry.
that
Ed
says- pronounced
Mabry.
like that.
We love him. We love when he comes on the show. It's an honor to have him on the show. I don't want him to think that was us throwing diss tracks at him. That's not our style, dude. We love him on the show, and we're blessed that he comes on. And I would love to have them on the show to have a discussion if they would. I know Ed doesn't like debates, so I don't think it's going to happen. But I really don't want it to be a debate. I just want it to be like, here's my opinion, here's that, and just a discussion. I'd love to do it at some point. It would be a fun show.
But, yeah, I would just wonder, like,
Would that be? No one's ever done Christian rap beefs, where they're just like throwing out
I like that.
Solomon 445.
Dude, I found out recently, and it's been a while ago, but one of the Christian bands that they really tried to push on young church-going folks in the 90s was this band DC Talk. And one of the main guys from that band was hitting on and possibly pushing himself on dudes like on the tour when they were on tour. We found out recently. And I was just, God, I wish I wanted so bad to travel back in the past and be like, this shitty music, this guy is putting his fingers in butts on tour. What do you think about that?
What's so funny is
They look pretty edgy though.
DC Talk?
which
Yeah.
one was it, Johnny?
It's-
Let's tell it stop. Let's take a guess looking at the picture.
Yeah,
Which one do we think is the gay guy? I'm gonna go. Oof. I
think
want to
he's
go with the
more-
guy in the back.
I think he's more of a sex addict than a gay guy. I mean, he's not just gay. so
Okay. Based on this ticket, you don't know. Go to fucking the colored picture.
Yeah,
Right
go.
there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the black guy.
Black guy, lead singer, the skinny white guy, tweaker looking vibe.
Sam's right. Yeah.
The black guy was it?
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
Michael Tate.
you live long enough in West Hollywood, your gaydar is fucking
He
strong.
said that he lived a double life and he's working on repentance and healing, was what he said in
or
2025.
just like love. I mean, like
Jesus freak. He was a freak.
yeah, that was one of their big songs. Jesus freak. It was just, I always go back to that smashing, that Billy Corgan quote where he's just like, I think Jesus would like better bands.
Look at this one. Jesus is just all right. Colored people.
Jesus is just all right.
colored people. Jesus love the blackies.
There's a lot of weirdness around
Say the words.
Christian
I thought it was say
bands.
the word. I thought it was the N word.
He was also, it's funny, he was so popular, he went and became the lead singer of another huge Christian band that lost their lead singer. That guy, like he was a star.
Toby
dude.
Mac.
No, Michael Tate.
Oh, really? Michael Tate.
He's
yeah.
60 today. Hold on.
Oh, and Black Don't Crack, by the way.
Yeah,
he looks
he
really
don't.
good
Well,
for
that's what I was
60.
about to say. I was like, there's
Yeah.
no way he's
Black
60.
don't
Yes.
crack. You can tell how old black people are based on their hands.
You gotta
Their
count-
hands are the only thing that age.
If you're Michael Tate, you count the rings, but
But he was on the New Boys.
All right, if you go to samtripoli.com,
Newsboys,
you can
yeah.
get all my dates. Miami, St. Petersburg for Joke World Fest, Lawrence, Kansas, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Dallas for TrutherCon, New Orleans for Skankfest, and in Austin, and might be adding one more date. One more date. Bum, 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 bum,
I don't even know what song we're doing there. What is
One more time.
Oh, I got you.
Get on my mailing list, dude. We're sending you.
For everybody complaining when Sam goes live,
Yes.
I find out because of this email list.
Thank you.
According to your Instagram, we're supposed to be going do a BS on
Well,
Friday.
no,
also.
I fixed it.
Okay, I saw that. I was like, well, shit,
I fixed it.
2 of them this week.
Well, because I thought we were going to do it, but you're like,
Slave
no,
driver.
I don't want to do it. Wow.
Well, no, that's not true.
What?
You wanted to do one, but you wanted to do it on Friday, and I was saying that Friday's the most shit day to go live on YouTube, especially in the time. I
One
want to.
more time. Ba, 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 ba. Johnny, have you gotten the laugh track on your thing at home yet for PS?
No.
God, you got to get it, dude. I'm going to keep
I got
texting
it here.
you.
I think I got it here. We're not going to wait for that, but yeah. No, I guess I don't. I thought I used to have laughter.
You gotta get it. Go down. Get on my mailing list. My premium content. Dude, we're talking fire. I gotta get back on the Kurt and Sam experiment. Boy, this fucking text thread I'm on is so fucking deep. It's
the Sam Tripoli cross. What is it? What's it called? The turning point. Sam Tripoli.
Sam Tripoli TPS USA.
Dude, you should drop a couple screenshots on your premium only. On your premium only.
Would be violating
Yeah, you can't
the
do that.
trust, dude.
You're just like one of those.
I don't
FBI
care how
agents.
on point my thumbnails are. Look at that, dude.
Your thumbnail game has come a long way.
Yeah. Thank you, AI. Johnny, tell us about Cash Daddies.
Yeah, Cash Daddies. You can learn how to prepare for retirement. And you can go over to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Cash Daddies, where Howie, at the beginning of every year, reveals a portfolio, which this year is beating the S&P.
Again?
Yeah, again and again. It's his best year so far, beating the S&P, Howie. He posts videos several times a week, sometimes multiple times a day. And then we have a Q&A attached to every podcast.
We answer your questions every week.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, dog. Go down. Go down. Keep going. Keep going. T-shirts. Listen, we got some great t-shirts. We got the Francis Bacon t-shirt. And then we have the 1,000th episode t-shirt available for a limited time. A limited time. Look at that. That's fire.
The time is
now.
Now until Sam gets tired of making money, and then we'll stop selling it.
Okay, Johnny, fuck you, dude.
It's always going to be available.
Wise Wolf Gold and Silver, Wolfpack Gold. Go to samtripoli.gold, grab that, click the link. Pure Hydrogen Brown Gas, Harley Ray for all your crystals, candles, sage. Count Free Body, take it every day. Love it. EMF rocks. You want to fight that dirty energy. Reign Supreme.
I'm off this week. Off.
He's off,
You
dude.
can tell.
That
You
guy's
can tell.
fucking off, dude. Nuke Social is the decentralized social media. No more algorithm bullshit. No more censorship. You get all my posts on there as well. What else?
Check out my reaction videos. Actually marks the spot. I just did one with a guy thinks he's part of a GTA. Young A.
Young A.
What are you doing? Like kind of like police cam footage?
Yeah, basically I'm clipping it so I get all the good parts. It's not like the long thing. So
How long is the video?
15 minutes.
Okay, good.
It's all the
That's
good
cool.
shit. It's
Yeah.
all the
That's
good
good,
shit.
dude.
Yeah.
That's good shit, dude.
New BS is out. Check that out. It'll be following you home. Check it out. It's waiting for you.
There it is. Everybody who's asking what does Sam think about the Charlie Kirk fucking trial, go to Broken Sim. There you go.
I had some guy I had some guy on what show was it? I forget what show I was doing live. And he was like, "Why don't you guys ever talk about BlackRock?" I'm like, "We don't talk about BlackRock."
Yeah, Howie had to tell us to stop talking about BlackRock. We talk about it so much.
Real quick, guys. World War debate. You got to grab your tickets now, dude. Well, it's coming, dude, and it's going to be blow everyone out of the fucking water. World War debate's coming, and then if you go to worldwardebate.com and then youtube.com/tinfoilhatofficial, subscribe. Just subscribe to help us out. Make us feel good. Make us feel like $1 million.
Do us a favor.
Show us some fucking love, man.
Leave a nice comment.
Leave a nice comment.
Yes, we reply.
If you have a negative comment, don't leave it. Just keep it in your head.
Keep it to yourself.
Ask
Call your
yourself-
best friend. Yell and scream.
Yeah.
Dude, that mega flood one is a fire thumbnail.
Which one is
Fire
that?
thumbnail.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
The Grimerica boys, fire thumbnail.
Some
Fire.
guy commented that they were going to stop listening because of the AI thumbnails. And I'm like, dude, if that's enough to make you stop listening to a podcast, you were never there for
Yeah, I
the
mean,
right
like,
reason.
dude, it's like they're fire thumbnails. They're fire thumbnails.
Who cares if a demon made them?
And they don't. And they also don't. People don't understand. If you've done Photoshop, what AI is doing is just
Quicker.
quicker. I've tried Photoshop. This does it in so fast for some. I'm like, I don't even blame people that
Bro,
use AI.
it's so much. Like, I watched,
Go to BS. Find the BS one. Go to
There's-
Sam Tripoli. Go to YouTube Sam Tripoli.
there's this YouTube channel that does special effects, and they just did a ranking a tier list, which is what I want us to start doing, Sam, on BS.
No, go down.
They did a tier list of resurrected
Videos.
stars. Do you get what I'm saying? Like people that have been brought back to life in movies.
Yeah, right there. Look at that fire thumbnails that Johnny's making there.
Oh, and that's not me. It's
Well, the Cash Daddy's one's fire. Why don't you like that? Sometimes Johnny makes me fatter in the fucking thumbnail.
It's funny. You sent me a text one time, like a couple weeks ago, like, I will get revenge on you for this thumbnail. Like I'm doing it on purpose. Like I honestly just go for the first one where like I try to find a screenshot of you looking like emotive somehow. I don't care what face you're making, and then I stick it in there. It's not any kind of intentional making you look stupid thing.
All right.
But what I was saying was there's this YouTube channel where these guys do special effects and try to reproduce special effects from movies, and they were ranking the resurrections like Paul Walker in Fast and Furious. When they brought Princess Leia back for Star Wars for the scenes that they brought, Elvis back for a fucking Pizza Hut commercial in the 90s, and they like ranked them. And the crazy thing is, even the ones that were done on budgets of millions of dollars, like Star Wars just a few years ago, AI, you could show them a fucking picture of Princess Leia right now, and it would look far better than
I just think
anything
it's a tool,
an
dude.
army of people could have done.
I just think it's a tool.
It's so much
Johnny,
better.
how honestly, if you look at that Ranton's too damn high, right?
Yes.
How long would it take you to do that in Photoshop?
At least 40 minutes.
Whoa.
At least, Johnny.
Oh,
Well, what now? The thumbnail, like Howie on the left, that's just me. That's a screenshot of him from the video, sharpened with AI.
The Cash Daddy, you gotta have that logo already.
It's there already. The divider in the middle is part of a template. The text is part of a template that I just change every week. And then the part on the right, now that's AI generated. Now I would have to find it. I've done it before though, but yeah, it would take like you said, probably 40 minutes, 30, 40 minutes.
yeah. It's like,
I would
dude,
pull an arrow in.
we're doing 90 podcasts a week, guys. We're doing 90 podcasts a week.
Yeah, it's not. If I was a professional thumbnail maker, yeah, I wouldn't do it all myself. But I that's just one element of.
But you're here for the video and the audio. We're just giving you.
Yeah, and we're arguing with one dipshit. Like, who cares?
We don't think you're a dipshit, dude. We just think you don't do this,
If you
and you
stop
don't
listening
realize like how
for that.
long it takes to make these thumbnails. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's like fucking stupid.
And to get angry
Anyways,
about it,
back to the show.
crazy.
JtfollowsJc is a fucking great guy, great content creator. I can't recommend his stuff enough. I always enjoy his clips. They're on doom scrolling all the time, and I think he's just great, dude.
What kind of stuff does he talk about typically, like that you pull on doom scrolling?
Well, he came on an episode and talked about how all the Marvel comics are old Greek gods. All the Marvel
I remember
comic,
that. Yeah.
like that's fun stuff.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think it's a lot of fun. I think he brings a fun view of trying to understand like modern culture through Christianity. I like it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I think he's a good content creator. Anyways, great show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And all of that was super deep, dude. Super deep. Dude, we've been putting out bangers lately, dude.
Bang.
That was
dude.
like Michael Tate, DC Talk Deep.
That
Just
was Michael Tate, DC Talk Deep, dude. I don't even know what that means, but I'm
right
in.
up some dancer's bung. That's the Christian rapper or singer guy who was going deep backstage, let's say.
Not some stripper, though. Male stripper, just a gigolo. And everywhere I go, people know the butt I bring.